Welcome back, EC Fan-Addict. It's been a while since I talked about the EC Artists Library series from Fantagraphics because it's been a while since we had a new volume, and this one has been very, very well worth the wait. The Spawn of Venus and Other Stories by Wallace Wood. Wallace Wood is, in my opinion, the greatest comic book artist of all time, and this is his peak material. Goes from mid-1952 to the very beginning of 1956, his science fiction work for EC Comics. And there's a lot of iconic material here, a lot of just really essential stories in EC history, and certainly when we look at the science fiction work of Wallace Wood, the very best stuff is here. Let's take a quick look at the contents list. He Walked Among Us, Home to Stay, which was the first Bradbury adaptation they did. So it wasn't credited to Ray Bradbury, but it did begin their long and fruitful partnership. EC Comics doing Bradbury adaptations. Down to Earth was the story that inspired Mars Attacks later on. There Will Come Soft Rains, Mars is Heaven, Ray Bradbury again. The Precious Years, The Loathsome, EC Confidential. These are not only peak Wallace Wood, but I think Al Feldstein had really hit his stride as a science fiction writer. Some really imaginative stories here. Some stuff that's actually pretty emotional. And they really, at the top of their game with this material. My World has come to be known as Wallace Wood's signature story, and you'll see why. He got a chance to illustrate every kind of science fiction trope that he excelled at. It's all here. And there's also a bonus. I won't show you too much of it because I want you to be surprised, but there's a fumetti called My Little World, and it features a diorama done by Norm Watson that is going to blow your mind. There's also the 3D story that he did for the unpublished 3D EC Science Fiction Mag, and that's here in 2D. Also, the splash page, his original pencils, and his inked version, so you can see a little bit of his process. And there's also a lot of supplemental material, more than in the typical volume in this series. Starting off with an introduction written by myself and my very good friend John Gothold. One thing I can say about John is that he goes into as much depth as I do, if not more. Some really deep diving on every story in the volume, a lot of history, and it was a real pleasure to work on it. There are also essays from Howard Chaykin, Larry Hama, a bio by Stephen Ringenberg, essay by Ted White, and the essay by Grant Geisman I want to spend a little time on because Grant talks about a missing page, a lost EC art page by Wallace Wood that was found, identified, and has now been restored into the story You Rocket. And again, I don't want to show too much, give away too much, but it's pretty amazing, and this was in the making for decades, and the series editor, Mike Catron, kept this a secret for more than a dozen years. And what has happened here is, after the Comics Code Authority, EC was publishing science fiction magazines still, but they were heavily censored by the code in some cases. And this is one story that was so badly censored by the code that the entire second page of the story had to be redone. And for years, that page was missing. It has now been restored to the story for the first time ever. You can see the uncensored version of You Rocket, illustrated by Wallace Wood. And when the story page was found, it was cut into sections and the last panel was missing. The really amazing thing here is that before he passed, Al Feldstein wrote that final panel, editorial assistance with the art. It's been restored for the first time ever in this book. It's solid gold for EC fans. So, highly recommend this volume. A lot of fun to work on, much more fun to read. So, what else can I say? Wood is good, and you need this. Thanks a lot, fiends.